going on, guys? It's Ken here from QuickFix. It's been a while, but I thought I'd jump back on with a quick tip and a little bit of a tutorial on how to deal with something that I know plagues people who are spending money to generate leads for their business. And realistically, even if you aren't spending money to generate leads, you should probably pay attention to this video because you don't want to be lighting your hard-earned cash on fire, whether that's by generously giving all of your money to Zuckerberg or to Google for paying for leads, or by having the opportunity cost of missed leads coming through and not allowing you to maximize the profits for your business. And what we're going to start here today is on the Ontraport dashboard, because I think that's one of the features that is least used on the platform. And one of the other things we'll probably mention is the lifetime value campaign that everybody has accessible free through the Ontraport marketplace. We'll touch on that in a second though. So let's take a look at the dashboard. Now, the metric that I want everybody that's watching this video to go and put into their dashboard right now is this one right here, the hard bounces year to date. And the way you do that is simply by going to new metric. You can name it however you want. I called mine hard bounces year to date because that gives me the idea of what it is. But you can also call these bad contacts, bad emails, whatever you want, right? So let's call it bad emails, for example. And we want to know the number of contacts who did something or the number of times something happened. Let's see here. We want this to be a trigger. We want this to be a field is set to field is it's updated to hard bounce, right? And like I said, I do the year to date just so I can keep a tab on it cumulatively, right? And that's it. You'd hit save and there are some other ways to do this as well, but you can see that it's also able to do the number of contacts who did something, right? So you can do it either way. Both of them will work. I prefer normally to do it like this, right? So once that's saved, it'll take a few minutes probably to update, right? This one was updated 8 minutes ago. And you can see that year to date, there have been 2,026 hard bounces in this account, this client account. Now let's take a look at what that really means. Now this particular person is spending a lot of money on paid advertising across different platforms, and let's just say that their number that they're paying for leads on average is $7, which is more or less, I think they fluctuate between 7 and 10, but let's just say the low end of that. So that's $7 times 2026 bad contacts. That means that they spent $14,182 that led to nothing, right? Because again, these are emails that are not able to be contacted, and therefore all of the follow-up systems and most people who use Ontraport are strictly using email to follow up with people. So that means that they have 2,026 missed opportunities for which they paid let's say at least $14,182 that they can't get back in any way, shape, or form. And that's a lot of money, especially when you factor in that most people aren't spending so much on paid advertising, but they're hoping to get a big return. And sometimes when you're looking at your ad platforms and you're watching a campaign and that campaign is generating leads, and so you maybe scale that campaign or you double down on one of the particular ads that seems to be working, if that campaign has a high percentage of fake information being put in, because most people now are internet savvy, depending on which niche you're in, and if it has anything to do with marketing like this particular person's stuff does, when they see a marketing related thing, a lot of people will put in a fake email or a catch-all email that they just use strictly for opting into lists. Or even just the fact that there will be some percentage of people who, mistype their email address. And so this is, again, missed opportunities that are happening here. Now, even if you're not spending the money, right? Let's say that you get all of your leads organically. Even if these 2026 people didn't actually cost you money directly, think about the opportunity cost here, right? And how do you look at the opportunity cost? Well, let's go take a look at the campaign that everyone should install after they set up this metric. All right, so before we jump into the campaign to look at that opportunity cost or the potential opportunity cost there, let's go ahead and show you how to actually install this campaign. And this campaign is the customer lifetime value campaign. And this is free directly from Ontraport HQ. So you're going to want to come into start a new campaign. Once you see this screen, this search never worked for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and type in lifetime. Jumps down to customer lifetime value example. You just click on that. It'll ask you some stuff, or it'll go ahead and tell you that it's adding it, and then you just hit OK, and then it'll end up inside of your campaign list once that's ready. But for this client, I've already set that up, so let's take a look at their campaign. Now, this is showing you what the pro level of Ontraport can do. This shows you based on the UTM codes and all that kind of stuff where people are coming from. So if you have that enabled, this is just extra information that'll be very good. I'm going to go ahead and open up this date range here to the last 6 months, because I know that the last 6 months has been kind of this new ad campaign that we're running for them. So this was, let's call this May. Well, let's call this June. So June till today, which is the 16th of December, 2020. All right, so let's give you some numbers here. And what you want to do is you want to go to the report and you're going to look at the lifetime value report. And when you first set this up, you're only going to have this first column here. Now, I've put in 2 different downstreams in order to be able to actually track the difference between what happens when somebody enters into their ecosystem by purchasing specific products, which I find helps them understand a little bit more on where they should be focusing for the optimization side, which products they should be pushing. This can be something that you can just duplicate this downstream and do it for every lead magnet you have, every product you have, and it'll tell you that if somebody enters into the life cycle with this entry point, then they're worth this much versus this other amount, or this other product, or this other lead magnet. So you can see that there's a big difference between somebody who goes ahead and purchases the course versus somebody who just purchases the free plus shipping offer that's going on right now. But I digress. So this original downstream, right, this particular column here, is the column that you're going to see when you first put the campaign in place. And this is just measuring any way that somebody comes into your system as a contact. So that's a lead magnet, a form on your website, a purchase, anything that gets their email address and creates a contact inside of Ontraport. And then it shows you what the average spent is, so their average value after 1 day, 2 days, and these are time ranges that come with the campaign already in place, right? So you can see that after about a week, on average, somebody is worth about $4.40, right? And it keeps going up from there. After about 90 days, $11.29, and let's say that at 180 days is more or less what I want to look at here, because this is the kind of the date range that we just put up there, more or less, right? So 11/16 to 12. Let's see here. Sorry. I'm not sure why this isn't reflecting, but this is the date range that we're after, right? So from June to mid-December. All right, so 180 days is basically the time frame that we put in here. So you can see that people on average are worth $15.79. Now, of course, the math that I'm about to do isn't exact because this also takes into account all those people who are contacts but were hard bounces, I believe. Don't quote me on that. We'll have to ask Ontraport HQ if hard bounces get taken out of this equation. But I believe that it is factoring in the total number of people who entered into this flow during that time period. And so hard bounces would then be included, which means that we're still averaging about $15.79. So that means that for paid traffic, making around $8 per lead that's generated, right? But $15.79. So let's talk about opportunity cost. Even if you, let's say this was your business and you made $15.79 on average from every person that entered into your ecosphere, that means that if 2,026 of them were not viable leads, people you couldn't contact and therefore who you could not put your offer in front of anymore. Even if, let's say that you're a pretty good marketer and these people actually, let's say only 1,800 of them, all right, let's say that you were able to convert 226 of them right off the bat, and so they didn't need any follow-up. But more than likely, at least 1,800 of those are still going to need some sort of follow-up from you. But now, unless you're doing pixels and retargeting on ad platforms, you have no way to do that follow-up. So that means that the opportunity cost here would be around $28,000 that you're missing out on by not being able to contact these people. Okay, so now I showed you what the problem is, how to track that problem inside of Ontraport, but what's the solution? Well, let's take a look. There are actually 3 things that you can do. 2 of them are free, and 1 of them is a paid solution. The first thing you can do is you can add a confirm email field to cut down on the bad entries. And this is literally just adding the regular email field, and then when you're adding another field, you just type confirm and it'll show up as confirm email. Now, I don't know if you have to enable that field, but I believe that most people have it enabled by default. But it looks just like this, right? I dropped the email field on there. If I go ahead and just hit copy, I start typing confirm, and you can see that under permissions, there's a confirm email, right? So that'll drop that on there, and you're good to go. You publish the page, you do whatever you have to do. And when somebody gets to your form, they will see an email slot, and then they'll see a confirm email, which is where they have to type it. And if it doesn't match, then it won't let them submit the form. So perfectly free. It is included in your Ontraport account. You can set this up on all your forms right now today. That will help with some of the hard bounces for sure. Now, that will take care of people who have misspelled their email, right? But will it take care of people who haven't put in a real email? Well, no. But we'll take a look at that scenario after. The next thing you can do, if you're not using text messages in your marketing, you should be for sure. And one of the requests that we got not too long ago here at ClickFix was the ability to style or to add this little drop down to the SMS number field without needing to pay for the validations that we also offer. And so we came up with a short code, and this is absolutely free as well, where you just need to drop in, after you've signed up for ClickFix and registered your domain, you just drop in a short code and you point it at the SMS field, and you have this little drop down box which you can change the colors and the styling and all that kind of stuff. And all it does is it detects where the person is. So I'm in Spain. And so it puts the 34 in there so that the person knows that if they want to use their Spanish number, then they can do so. And if they need to use a US number, I, for example, have a US contact number that I put in on forms depending on what it's for, then this reminds me that I actually need to go down and put in the United States, right? And so this would give you that option. This is especially useful for people who sell internationally because, as you know, Ontraport goes ahead and appends the country code of where it thinks the person is when they're filling out the form. And sometimes it doesn't match for whatever reason, or sometimes it can default to where your account is set up. So this is just another visual cue for somebody to make sure that they're giving you the right phone number. Now again, this has the same kind of problem as the confirm email field. This doesn't actually stop them from putting in a fake number knowingly, right? Right? They can put in a fake email twice here, right? So fake@gmail.com, fake@gmail.com, and they can put in the movie phone number, 555, right? 555-5555, right? And they'd be able to submit that form. Now, the third solution, it is a paid solution. This is available from ClickFix, for example, or or a number of other third parties where you can kind of do the coding yourself and everything. And you can actually put in a real-time validation system that checks to make sure that an email is in fact real, deliverable, right? Right? You get little check marks, right? Right? And we'll make sure that the phone number is actually a real phone number. Now again, this system is kind of a first line defense, right? This stops people who are knowingly trying to put in fake emails, because after they try the third fake email, it's going to say, well, we're not going to let you do it. And they'll probably just give up. And it keeps them from putting in the movie phone numbers. All right, so let's say that I actually want to do the US because I'm in the US, and I'm going to say that it's actually this. Right, and it says, oop, that number doesn't work. And you can change the error messages and all that if you want. So this would actually stop the person from submitting that form, meaning that you're no longer going to have all those hard bounces or those unreachable text messages, because if you're using Twilio directly, you know this, but Twilio actually charges you for the unsuccessful messages as well. It charges you for the message attempt, not necessarily for the message delivered, which means that if you are generating hundreds or thousands of leads over the course of a year, that means that every time that you have to send a text message to a fake number, you're getting charged for it. And with the emails, it means that you're lowering your domain reputation. It means that you are stacking up hard bounces, which means that more of your emails are going to go to spam. So whether or not you're actually spending money actively on paying for leads, you're still going to end up wasting money either in opportunity costs or in opportunity costs plus hard costs associated with paying for those leads, or in things like paying for extra emails or extra phone numbers that can't get text messages, or paying in domain reputation, meaning that the emails that you actually send out to people who want to hear from you, a larger percentage of those are going to end up in spam. Now, granted, in order to end up in on that blacklist, you have to send a ton of emails, but isn't that everybody's goal, to grow their business, to have thousands of leads being generated, which affords you the thousands or millions of dollars that you want your business to grow to? So regardless of what you decide that you want to do, whether or not you want to go ahead and just implement the free fixes like adding in the confirmed email or registering for a free account with ClickFix and doing the phone style shortcode, or maybe you want to go all the way up and actually have a system that safeguards the data that's being put into your Ontraport at the beginning, no matter what you choose, I encourage everybody who's watching this video to go to their dashboard and set up this hard bounces metric right now, and then go into your campaigns and set up the customer LTV campaign so you can start figuring out, one, how many leads are coming in, how much bad contact data is coming in, and two, what kind of opportunity costs you might be missing out on by letting that continue to happen. As always, if you have any comments, please drop them below this video, either in the post on Facebook or on YouTube, or you can reach out directly to us by visiting clickfix.io and talk a little bit about what your particular situation is and how ClickFix may be able to help you get to where you want to go.